Now I'm going to need you to pay close attention because there are things in this video that are going to surprise you. Things that maybe most of you have no idea about when it comes to a microbrand and creating something as seemingly simple as this Alanti Ultrablack three-hander. Because that's what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about what went into making this particular watch and how difficult of a ordeal it ended up being. Because the microbrand industry might seem simple to most people, but it's far from it. Especially if you want to make something to this particular quality, which not a lot of microbrands do. So let's get into it. Now, to help you understand why creating a watch like the Alanti Ultrablack here is a very difficult proposition, you have to understand how the materials in this particular watch make it quite challenging. And the first of which is, of course, that ultra black dial, right? This dial, to put it bluntly, scratches quite easily. There are a number of different watch brands that use an ultra black dial that have taken advantage of that sleek look it provides. But what you're not going to find on the majority of those brands, maybe all of them save the Alanti, are indices, actual applied indices. And the reason for it is that if you try to apply an indice to an ultra black dial and miss it by even a fraction, trying to reapply it will ultimately destroy that dial. So the failure rate on a watch like this, it's not small. It's a high percentage of dials in the ultra black category fail in the creation of this particular watch because of those applied indices. He uses diamond cut polished indices to give it that high contrast and easy legibility that you get from it. It's the one thing that's turned me off the majority of these stone or exotic dials is quite often you can't tell the time on them. I mean, you can guesstimate the time, but I like being able to glance at my wrist and see the time. And having the high contrast, high polish indices against that ultra black dial makes it legible. But it's a costly venture because so many of those dials were destroyed in the application process. That's number one. Number two is the case. And something Al filled me in on in our conversations, because he's kind of a perfectionist, and like us, he's a watch enthusiast also, so he wants his watches to be as prized by the buyers as they are by himself as the seller, as the creator of the piece. So with the initial run of these watches, the case back, it's a very simple case back. It just has your basic engravings telling you it's got the 5 atmospheres or 50 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal, he's got his branding on there, stainless steel 316L, but he wanted that to be as symmetrical and balanced as possible, and 75% of his initial run came back with that printing a little off center. And for him, that was inexcusable. He had to rerun practically the whole order. That takes time. Time costs money. And that goes into making a watch like this. And then to make matters worse, he could have gone with a just fully brushed case because it's easier and imperfections don't show up, but he went with a fully polished case. Practically mirror polishing. And when you choose to do a polished case, the chances of faults and failures to the polishing are much higher than if you went with just a matte or brushed case. Much higher. So you combine the factors of the fact that he's got the ultra black dial with diamond cut applied high-polished indices on a high-polished case, and the designer is a perfectionist. How many of these were trashed before this particular one was created? It's a number that's hard to imagine. And in order to get these as perfect as possible, he had to do something else, something that a lot of microbrand owners won't do. And that's, he didn't just trust a third party to be the facilitator of the different parts required for this watch. He didn't just talk to somebody in customer service of a case manufacturer or a movement supplier in, say, Hong Kong or Shenzhen, China. He actually went there multiple times at each stage of the development of this particular watch in order to do the quality control himself, because what I found out was there are so many watches being made for so many small manufacturers now that the small manufacturers, they aren't prioritized maybe the way we'd hope they would be. And for the most part, only about 2% of the watches out of an allotment, an allocation, are actually checked by quality control for how well they've turned out. So that means if you decide to do a run of 1,000 watches, only 20 get pulled from the line to see if they've turned out correctly. The other 980 could slip through the cracks depending on what's wrong with them, and it's why he found out that 75% of the casebacks were off, because he checked each individual watch himself in Shenzhen, China. And he went back and forth until the deal was done, because the other problem is if you do find problems, unfortunately, they don't charge you for fixing mistakes. It's not part of the cost. But it takes time. And when you're a small manufacturer from Canada, only making, say, at that time, a 300 allotment of watches, your first run is done, but if you find problems with it, you go to the back of the line. And instead of maybe having a fixed component in 30 days, you have a fixed component in 9 months. And any promises you made to customers about delivery and when they'd get there, it's blown. You've killed any chance of building true loyalty or trust with the end consumer. So what he does is he goes there, he points out which ones are wrong, and he waits for them to correct it. All costs money, all costs time. It's all a lot of effort to go into something that, again, seems so simple. A three-hander dress watch with the Miyota movement. And despite all of that, he tries to keep the price as low as possible because he wants these to be affordable. He wants to see enthusiasts like himself wearing his brand. It's a matter of pride. It's his purpose to be on as many risks as possible of people who really appreciate high quality but don't want to get ripped off. I'm one of those people. So here I am talking about it. Now, what would you do if you're in his position? You've designed a brand. You want to see it on people's wrists. So, again, something about the Ultrablack is that if you do get any dust on the dial, on that sapphire crystal, it's going to show because of that Ultrablack background. Let's get something with a reflection in it. Would you go through all the trouble he went through? Would you spend all that additional money to get a perfect product in the end and then not really adjust your price accordingly? Would you just eat that cost in order to get your brand out there so that others might see it? I don't know. I don't know which route I'd go, to be honest. I think I'd want the price to reflect what I'd put in. So what would you do in that situation? Let me know in the comments. Let's get to the watch itself. Now, the Alanti Ultrablack is a very elegant watch, right? It is truly a dress watch in every definition of the word. I give them credit for going with a 50 meters of water resistance versus a 30 because really, who's wearing this swimming? Nobody. It's got a push-pull crown, some Miota movement, so it's 9 series, 4 hertz, hacking, hand winding, right? The usual. The clasp in this case is this very elegant fold-over deployant that doesn't really add much bulk to the bottom of the wrist, sits very nicely on wrist. And I kind of want more, to be honest. I might reach out to him and see if I can get a few additional for other watches of mine. When he found out recently that I was going to review this particular watch, he was nice enough to give me a discount code to share with you guys, so I'm going to put that in the description. If you're interested, I can get you 15% off the price of the watch, so bonus there. The case design is, subtle, but it's still striking because it's not your typical just average circle, right? It's got those somewhat squared off corners. It's just a gorgeous watch. And it was that Ultra Black that really appealed to me. And I told him, legibility is a big thing for me, and I love the high contrast there. And it was him that mentioned it originally, that you're lucky because nobody else really uses applied indices on Ultra Black dials. So I had to start searching the internet to see if that was true, and he's right. People don't do it. And most of these dials come from the same factory in China, okay? The majority do. Don't be surprised. But you're not going to find applied indices on their Ultra Black dials because they can't deal with the amount of loss it creates, right? The failure rate's just too high. But for Al, it's something he wanted. Like myself, he believes in highly legible timepieces. So that's what he went with. Now, not every one of his timepieces are as legible as this because, of course, this is stark in contrast compared to some others because he's got a number of exotic dials. Anything from Tiger Eye to abalone shell, right? Aventurine, like a lot of other companies have done. He has all of that. Those are available too. But right now, this is the one that really stands out to me because I see this as a dress watch first. And as a dress watch, I find the Ultra Black to be the most elegant by a wide margin. Now, if you're looking for something a little more fun, a little more sporty, some of those other dials may appeal to you. And you could always match this with a rubber strap. He has rubber straps available that give it a very different sort of look, a kind of funky bit of appeal. But for me, this particular watch, worn with a suit, is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that's what I went with.